Good evening, everybody, and welcome to TAT Chat number 98, which in itself sends like shivers down my spine, just the thought of it, with Nick. 98.
Oops, sorry. Nearly 100 of these we've done, and we
still forget to mute the stream. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, so welcome to Touch at 98 with myself, Zahir, and obviously Nick. If you guys don't know if this is the first time for you joining us, which I highly doubt for everyone in the chat at the moment, we do a chat every Tuesday. 1 week it happens on this channel, and then the next week it alternates and goes on to Nick's channel, where we just talk about our week in reselling together, like any topics that are kind of prevalent or on our mind. So this is what it's all about, and then we get to share it all with the amazing chat, who also tend to be members of the Facebook TAT chat group. So Nick, how's your day been? I've not really been in touch, have I? I've been a bit off radar
today.
Yeah,
just said before we went live, you've been out in the rain. You still look wet, actually.
Yeah, I'm soaked. Like I said, yeah, we've been going out like 3 times a day to walk the dog, which is probably like a first flush of enthusiasm, but we're really enjoying it because it's kind of like forced fitness. So it's really nice to get out there. But yeah, it's horrid out there at the moment, wet and windy, but you know.
We walked over to my sister's because they had family over, so we walked over to see them, and we got soaked last night. It's just, I hate walking in the rain.
It's the worst feeling, isn't it? I'd rather be freezing cold. So it's than being like just soaked. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So it's not actually a haircut, guys. It's what happens when my hair gets literally drenched. I've walked straight in and started the chat. So
your hair grows fast, man. I mean, it only feels like a couple of weeks ago you were shaved bald, and now look at you.
I know, now I'm covered in hair again. Just caught a comment from Niall Guyver in the chat. I nearly said Gulliver again. He said Z looks like Popeye's rival for Olive. I think he means Brutus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's quite funny. But yeah, hi everybody in the chat. We've got a lot of the regulars in. BCP, Bum Crack Pickers in there, Peter Ray, CT Well, Peter Cummins, Karin, Jason Entwistle, Karen No Crafts. Just scroll down a bit. Southwest Sellers, George Ross. Yeah, loads of people have joined us, which is brilliant. Sib K, CT Whale, did I say that? I'm not sure. Lady Lolly, Graham Nichols, Colin Mack. Sir Thrifts a lot as well. So welcome everyone to the chat. We've got 74 people in here at the moment. And as you can see from the title, we thought we'd just discuss an old chestnut, which is, it's always nice to revisit because it's something that we can all look back on. And it's about how YouTube has possibly helped, or if in your view it might have hindered, but in our case I'd say how it's helped our reselling since starting it, like the difference between before YouTube, I suppose, or like BT and AT, if you wanted to take it to that kind of level.
Oh, before Tube.
Before Tube and after Tube, yeah.
Yeah. Before we carry on, you've got a drip running right down your
Have I? Oh my gosh, yeah, it's just water, guys. It's
like you're taking one of those lie detector tests.
It's rainwater, that's all it is.
The question was, how much work have you done today, Zahir? And
loads. I listed 500. Where it starts dripping and the machine starts going haywire.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good topic. And I remember in the earlier days of our channels, and particularly when I announced that I was going to go and do this fabled BBC TV slot. Do you remember with Ken and Caroline? There was a big negative response to that, way more than I could have ever imagined, because people were saying, you YouTubers, you're spoiling it for the rest of us, and now you're going to go on TV and it's all going to be over and it's all doom and gloom. And funnily enough, nothing changed, and everybody that I know that's into reselling has gone from strength to strength. A tiny little slot on a TV show made no difference. Our channels, which we continue to put out content on a daily or weekly basis, haven't changed the game for me. In fact, I feel I'm
Better
I
from
like to
it.
think I'm better for it. I'm more efficient in some ways. I'm kind of honing what I do. I've learned about FBA through YouTube primarily. You know, I got into that through Tom and others, and that's helped my business no end. So yeah, I mean, I know I'm biased because I'm a YouTuber, so I'm hardly going to slag it off.
Yeah.
But I do think, in my opinion, it's helped my business.
And to be, I think it's good to be kind of transparent about these things. When I first started doing these videos, and when you know, I'm sure, like I remember having these chats with you and Caroline and many others as well, that you do have a worry at first. You do have that worry, where am I doing the right thing? Because obviously you do hear you hear the comments, and you see the other side. Because like any reasonable person, you know, when you hear an argument, you like to hear both sides, and then you decide as a sentient being which side you want to actually end up on. You know, you take that decision, and everyone's decision is going to be different, and everyone's decision should be respected, right? And I remember at first that I did used to have that worry, you know, like, oh, should I share this? But it never lasted for, in my case at least. You know, so you can speak for yourself in this, but you know, anytime I had that worry, it was quashed within a minute or so, and it never got to the stage where it ever stopped me sharing like pretty much anything that we do. I mean, you know, we're even now we're happy to share, you know, what we sell. You know, I don't even care about hiding my store name on the videos anymore, or you know, or taking that step, because I'm like, the only thing I was hiding from it was because I picked such a stupid store name. You know,
you do know they're changeable. You do know that.
Yeah, I know, but I'm like, I'm gonna have to speak to Back and see whether we can come up with a better one. It's just that was a song I was listening to a lot of the time, so I thought, why not?
It's interesting actually, thinking back to when I started. I didn't really have those thoughts initially, and I'll tell you why. Because I genuinely thought a handful of people are going to find these videos. You know, hopefully a few people are going to watch. I really saw it in, you know, kind of single digit numbers that people that were going to be interested.
Yeah.
Which seems daft looking back, because I was watching guys like Dallas Moore and Bonafide Hustler who were pulling in thousands and thousands of views, but I couldn't make that leap to think, you know, I could grow a channel to that size. So I didn't really think, should I be sharing what I'm doing? Am I going to be doing myself a disservice by sharing some of the niches I'm in?
Yeah.
But as it grew, I did question it. And when we had the whole backlash about what we were doing, I did sit down and question it. And we had chats about this, didn't we, at the time?
Yeah,
and
we did, yeah.
At that time, and even before that, there were a few very niche items, certainly a handful of bits I was doing on Amazon that I were keeping to myself. And there's still a handful of bits I don't openly talk about. Most people know what my store names are now anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of irrelevant. If you want to know what I sell, it's easy to find our stores. Yeah. You know, you don't have to be Miss Marple to work it out, because we share what we've picked up. We share
what we've sold.
Videos showing me what I was listing last Wednesday or whatever it was, you know. So if people want to find that out, they can go in, they can browse through all 500 of my items and see what I've got on offer. So I don't tend to worry about it too much. And I think also time has given me that hindsight to look back and say, okay, these worries and fears I had or thought about, and worries and fears that certain members of the community definitely aired at the time, they just haven't come through. They haven't. I mean, we had both of us have been attacked for sharing bolos, items that we think are fantastic items to look at or look for, and people were saying, well, that's ruined that item. That's not going to be worth anything in a few months, and that just hasn't panned out at all. So yeah,
I mean, if I was Zayn Malik instead of Zahir Malik, and I said, you know, pick up this item, it may have an effect for a temporary amount of time on the market, but because that's not the case, I think you guys are pretty safe. And to the contrary, you know, I think one of the thing is not only has it not had a detrimental effect, I think I can definitely say for myself, I'm better off because of it. because of YouTube, and because of being able to see how different people do this. You know, it's like, I was thinking earlier on, it's like a bad analogy of YouTube would be, it's like a modern day library, right? Where you can go and find out anything you want to find out. The reason why I call it a bad analogy, though, is because when you go to a library and you pick up a textbook to learn about something, there's some quality control there, because the book has to get published in order for it to reach a library. So I couldn't just write a book about calculus because I don't know about calculus. So if I wrote a book about it, probably be wrong, and you probably wouldn't do so well using calculus because I know nothing about it. Whereas on YouTube, the worry, I suppose, is that anyone can put out anything. There's no, you know, there's no quality control, is there? So you couldn't necessarily do it like that. However, on the flip side, that's a very small cost to pay for being able to find out about exactly what you want to find out. I mean, the beauty of YouTube is you can find out, you can find other people doing exactly what you're doing. So you can niche it down. So you could, for example, niche it down to, how do I make money selling on eBay? But then you could niche it down further and say, how do I make money selling clothes on eBay? And you're going to find people that just make money selling clothes on eBay. Then you could niche it down further and say, how do I make money on eBay selling clothes which are like high end or boutique? And you'll again find someone that does exactly that. And that level of kind of direct information, that level of, like, you know, exactly what you're looking for, is so valuable that you can almost forgive, like, you know, if you feel that there are people out there not giving good information, or if we've ever given out bad information, you know, you've got to use your own filter, you've got to use your own you know, initiative to some point being in this.
And I'd also say as well that there are a handful of little dangers with YouTube information as well. And I've found this recently with people finding my channel and kind of binge watching.
Yeah.
But sometimes they go right back to the beginning, back to 3 years ago. And I need to put little warnings on those videos saying, this is what I was doing. 3 years in reselling is a long time.
Yeah.
And information that may have been what I was doing. I mean, all I've ever done is share what I'm up to, right? And for that week, I was totally into, I don't know, bundling up kids' books or whatever it was, right? And I was passionate about that in that moment. Most of that stuff I probably don't even touch now because the market's moved on.
Yeah.
I might have moved on. And people, you can't just binge watch YouTube and just assume it's all relevant and it's right for you and it's right for now. I think that's a big issue. And also, YouTube itself has changed so much. When we probably first started watching, certainly in the UK, there was a handful of people, and you could kind of watch every UK reseller video going.
Yeah.
In the UK, it's gone way beyond that now. I can't keep up.
Yeah.
Add the Americans into that, it's hundreds of channels.
Yeah. And you know,
it's almost got to a point where there's that much information that it kind of protects itself from spoiling certain markets, because not everyone you can't absorb it all.
No,
it's gone past the level of, you know, this handful of people start talking about a certain item and it's going to ruin the market because there's that much information out there now. You know what I'm trying to say?
The proof is always in the pudding, isn't it? And you know, I've not felt, you know, we've improved. You know, sales are up; they're better than they've ever been. You know, I can't. You know, I can't then say that it's caused an issue. I can only say that it's been brilliant. It's been something that you know, I think I'd be worse off without, you know, YouTube and just generally the online community, because it is our modern day source of information. So that is you've got to respect that to a certain extent, I feel. And you know, if you can embrace it, you know, if you can embrace the information, and if you put some out there, invariably you do get back more. I mean, I remember when we actually got Chris Bonafide Hustler on our chat absolutely ages ago, and he talked about, you know, like his mindset and like the whole talk. You may have heard the terms like the scarcity mentality and the mentality of abundance, and you know, it's having that mindset that can really help you benefit from it, and I I think the other side is if if people worry about people that just consume the information and don't offer anything back, that's not. I don't see that as an issue. I don't actually see that being a big problem. There are always going to be people that will take but not give. But because of that, I feel that they can only grow so far themselves. And if they do good on them, it doesn't seem to be having an impact. I mean,
Yeah,
if someone wants to sit there and you know just follow or pick up all the salient information that's being offered and not offer anything back,
well,
why
can't
stress yourself over it?
we can't monitor who's going to watch our videos. We're putting them out there and just letting them go. And if people want to just watch and not be part of Facebook groups or the social thing around it, then that's entirely up to them. And we can't begrudge that, because
No.
we can't say to people, this is how you have to use our information.
Yeah, if we tell you something, you must return with another piece of information, or
It doesn't work like that.
yeah, that would be ludicrous. I mean, there's quite a bit of chat coming on. Wow, bloody hell! Shouldn't have left it this long.
I just want to mention Southwest Sellers, who is Gary, who I met up with last time I saw Depeche Mode back in the summer.
Oh, sweet.
Said he's just been to see them. I've lost the comment now. I think it was Birmingham he went.
Oh, right.
I'm going tomorrow to the O2.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, I'm going to try and vlog the day.
The O2's got some excellent food places there as well.
Who's that?
Yeah.
The O2. Yeah. We're going to get some food before we go in. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some. I think they've got a GBK, so you should be sorted. Well, they did have
A GBK?
Gourmet Burger Kitchen.
Oh, right. Okay. Say as if I should know exactly what that is.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, just going through the chat. So Simon Mitchell says, Nick Z, reselling has been great listening and learning from your experience. I'm also encouraged to carry on with you and everyone in the chat, since we're all in the same boat. And I think that's a huge part of it, isn't it? It's the kind of help that you get just to go through the tough times, like the whole sharing your journey aspect. Like, for example, we all saw when you and Andrea set up your shop, and then obviously you had to wind it down, and how you changed from that to moving all your stuff back into the office. In our case, people have just seen us just grow. Rebecca coming on board with the business, and getting the hauls that we've picked up and how we've had to change to adapt to deal with them, etc. People love to see that journey, and you get to share it, and it gives you motivation to plow on through it as well. I think these are such valuable things.
I think it's huge, and we can never overemphasize what we've got back. Just knowing there's people out there that have got our back, and they support what we do, and they understand what we do. And I think that's more than the information that we might get back from other channels and stuff like that. It's the fact that I know I can go live and people will come on and want to hear what I've got to say, and that is huge.
Yeah,
it really is. And until you've done it and experienced it, it's kind of hard to describe. But feeling like you have a load of essentially strangers out there that know what you're up to and understand your passion for what you do, it makes, and coming from somebody who, I've been doing this 15 plus years now, most of that time rattling around on my own with my wife, just thinking we were the only people doing this. It's like night and day to us now. I mean, I speak to you on a daily basis, and several of the other YouTubers, and we never had that before. And then we've got this TAT chat outlet and the Facebook group, and it kind of, I don't know, it gives you something. It gives you a big social part of your working day that was missing for me for so long.
Yeah, definitely. Peter Cummins has a question for you, Nick. He goes, are you slightly more cautious about sharing RA deals for Amazon due to the nature of FBA deals, i.e. everyone can go and buy, and this could flood the market?
Yeah, I have been. I did release, I didn't do as much RA as we normally do this year, but there was a big haul. You may remember we had it all stacked on this side that we picked up in the January sales. All I did then was I left, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks between making the video and releasing it, because some of it really was sensitive. And if I mean, I could have made the video and just not said where I picked it up or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah, all I did was leave a gap. So I didn't get loads of people going out, picking up trolleys full of the same gear I was and making it that bit harder to sell it on Amazon.
Yeah. But even with that, there are, if you look, there will be people out there that are happily sharing what they're doing on Amazon as well. You know, I think there's even channels where people aren't doing Amazon but still are happy to share the kinds of deals that you can. You know, that you just have to look for it. The information is out there. I mean, Simon Mitchell says, Nick Z, information is at our fingertips with social media. YouTube is just one form, but I find it the most informative and learn so much from all the videos and all the tips. Thanks, guys. I mean, on a personal level, that's the kind of comment that obviously just drives you to put out content, because it just makes you feel good.
I think what YouTube does beyond all the other social platforms, or does it best, is that you become invested in the people, and I find it easier to learn when I can see a face and they're talking about it. It sinks in better. You know, on Facebook, it's all very well looking at a few pictures and stuff, but it's very cold. Whereas YouTube, you know, I can go on, I can watch you talking about hi-fi and getting excited, and somehow that information is retained better than it is just reading black and white information.
I think it's that old thing of you, when you watch someone, you can tell, can't you, whether they're genuinely excited or genuinely believe in what they're talking about. I think that's the difference. On the other platforms, yeah, you can snap a picture on Instagram and write a few hashtags, or on Twitter you can write you know, like 140 characters or whatever and put a few hashtags in, and that's great. Same with Facebook, you can write a little post or whatever. But I think the thing with YouTube is it's that old thing of being able to actually look into someone, and you get that feeling whether they're genuine or not, or whether you just like them or not. It's not even sometimes about you know, about, it's just that whole thing on whether someone appeals to you.
I think YouTube channels that we go back to, it's because they're easy to absorb, because we identify with the person, or we enjoy the way they present it, or whatever, which means absorbing that information is less hard work, because you enjoy watching the person. I think that's half the battle with YouTube, and that goes back to trying to absorb information from books or whatever. It's dull as hell. Whereas at least, hopefully, I don't know what I do right, but people seem to enjoy watching me. Somehow I seem to get information across, and it's easier to absorb. So that's why YouTube works for me, because I am very scatterbrained. I'll get, you know, distracted in a moment. So I couldn't absorb information from books, for example. I just wouldn't have the patience. Whereas YouTube, it's just there, and I can absorb it easily. So
I mean, the amount of times people say I'm watching whilst listening, or I'm listening whilst listening, or whatever, so they're getting on with their work, and somehow the words are getting across. And but also to the people that are making the videos, you know, we get so much out of this as well. I mean, the amount of information that I've had over the years of making the videos now has been incredible. I've had some of the best information. You know, I think I've received way more information than I've possibly been able to share out. I only know so much, you know. It's like it is all about just sharing the journey, and it provides that confidence, that motivation for you to get up and go every day. I mean, it's the reason why we do the like weekly motivation post on Facebook. You know, you could look at it and be like, oh wow, every week they're just putting out like a motivation post, but it's necessary, because it's a grind as well, guys. You know, doing this.
It's a really good point that we shouldn't gloss over. That I think a lot of people find the channels through looking for some information, but they stay because they get more than that. They get like you said. It sounds cheesy. It's the old X Factor journey thing, but they become invested. Like you and Bex, your followers have become invested in your story. You know, you've laid it all out, and like, this isn't easy. This is tough. You know, we've moved up here, and we've got, you know, we've really set ourselves up now, and we've got to make this work. And that's what people are invested in. It's the story behind it, and it's the people behind it, and it's more than just information, is what I'm trying to say. And I think people can relate to people. Does that make
Definitely.
sense? People can relate to people, and that's why they come back. I mean, information, I think you have to have some level of information in your channel if you're going to be a reselling channel, but certainly not all about that at all.
No, definitely. I mean, it's just become such an important part, hasn't it? It just really has. Alex asks, question: how much passive income does YouTube bring in? Really depends on how much you're doing, I suppose. But like for me, it's not a lot, but it's pretty okay for what I do. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, I was chatting to Tex. I made a video earlier. Normally, when the TAT chat is on Zahir's channel, as it is today, I try and do a guest slot on a Thursday. It's Thanksgiving this week over there. She's crazy busy.
Oh yeah.
We pre-recorded it, and we had a little chat after there, because if you guys follow Margaret, you'll know her channel is just blowing up. She's putting out videos like they're going out of fashion, and my channel and her channel have kind of grown in tandem, and they're at a certain level. I would say that it's certainly paying for the time I put in now. For the last 2 to 3 years, it's certainly been. And it takes, certainly in the niche we're in, it's taken that long to get YouTube to a point where if I put a few hours work into making a couple of videos, my time will be paid for in the long run. But it's certainly not a
I think I saw Rakin made a video about this, Steve Rakin, where I mean he's for everything that people say, he's an honest guy, and he said it really does also depend on how you look at it. I suppose if you take it more, and he mentioned if you actually look at it like a business, you then have to invest in it just like you would in any other business. Just like when you start eBay, you go out and you buy a bunch of stuff, you have to invest money in a ton of stuff, and it's not going to instantly give you a return. People aren't going to suddenly start buying stacks and stacks of things from your store. They're just not, because you have to build your store, you have to build your feedback, the number of transactions, you want to become top rated seller, etc, etc. There's so many things, and plus you're going to be improving how you list as you go. So just because you can't get an instant return, is my point. And YouTube's no different. I think the people that put in the greatest amount of work will obviously see that level of return in a way.
Yeah, I've certainly seen that, and most of the actual revenue that our channel now makes is from videos that are like 2 years old or 3 years old.
Yeah,
most videos get a few, get all of their views in the first couple of weeks, and then they're pretty much dead to the world. But a few of our videos have gone on to appear in searches and do really well, and they're the ones that, and I couldn't predict what videos they're going to be. It's just bizarre and totally random, but a few videos make most of the revenue.
Sure.
Really weird how it works out.
Peter A asks, so Z, Nick, are you both doing Christmas vlogs over the festive period? I've got no plans. What about you? I don't have any specific plans.
We did this. You sounded very bar humbug then. You're like, not got any plans.
Well, I've got to speak to Beck. I mean, if Beck wants to do something, but like, I'm not sure. I can't see myself specifically doing something for it, because I'm a bit bar humbug sometimes.
We did the whole, well, this was Andrea's thing really. Last year we did the whole Vlogmas thing where we were putting out one a day, and that was just too full on.
Too much, yeah.
So much work. So I think we're gonna do like a weekly Christmassy themed sort of vlog, because we tend to go out and do Christmassy stuff. Andrea and Ellen are just obsessed with it. So yeah, we'll do something.
Cool. Sib says YouTube is great to learn, but for social and data life of resellers, Instagram wins hands down. Yeah, I think there's a couple. Nick obviously needs to do Instagram full stop. He hasn't got even an account, which is it's just shocking.
We have a Nick and Andrea account that I've never been on. It's basically Andrea, but people respond to that as if they're talking to me, and I've never been on there.
Fair enough. My phone currently is broken, so I've got no. I can't. I found out that you can't Instagram on the computer. It doesn't let you. You can't post anything. You have to use your phone. My phone is just happened to break just as I got out of contract. So I'm actually without smartphone at the moment, so which is in itself quite a challenge.
Yeah, definitely.
Ishtar Dia says, I learned a lot watching you guys on YouTube, and it gave me the confidence that I can do it. In the Netherlands, I could not find anybody that is reselling. And that point there really resonates with me, because that's exactly what watching Nick's videos did for me. I'd watched YouTubers, you know, as you do, you go on there searching for ways to make money from home because you're fed up of working for someone. That's how I did it. You know, basics were, I kept on quitting jobs and I was getting fed up of quitting jobs. So I had to find a way of making money from home. And I'd found these US YouTubers like Gill Daddy, etc. And then it was only when I saw Nick's videos that I was like, wow, this guy's doing it here. Like it can be done. And that just gave me the confidence to just jump in and, you know, to start making money working from home.
Yeah. That's what YouTube still does for me on a regular basis. It inspires me to get my arse in gear and get moving. What it
exactly
does, you know, when I see
that's the thing.
calls, I get excited and I want to go out sourcing, which is tough for us because we've not been for so long. And when I see people's results, that inspires me to, you know, get all this stuff listed. And that's what I use YouTube more. It's not so much about the information, thinking about it. It's more just checking in with other resellers and going, yeah, I need to get my arse in gear. You know, I use them to inspire me to be better because I'm so distractible.
Yeah, well, it's such a great, you know, it's such a great tool in that regard, because, you know, if you look at life before this, you know, before having access to whatever level you want, you know, you say you had your friends. Now imagine if you and your friends were just, you know, like deadbeats, just just for argument's sake, they're all deadbeats and you're a deadbeat. Chances are you're going to just remain a deadbeat, right? Then say if you suddenly found some friends that had a bit more ambition, and then you had that little bit more ambition, and then you were working at a certain level, you can only ever work at that level until you find someone that's even more ambitious. I mean, an easier example, I suppose, to understand is, say, for example, in video games, right? When people are playing video games professionally, like on a professional level, like I know this, like with the fighting game community, especially like Street Fighter, they always emphasize how important it is to go to an arcade or to go to gatherings where there are good players, because you will learn. If you play against your mate that you can beat 100 times in a row, you're not going to learn anything over those 100 matches. You're far better off going to your local meetup where you're going to come across a far better player who's going to beat you 100 times in a row. And you're going to learn so much more, and you're going to become better so much quicker. And I think that's what YouTube allows you to do, because you could start off watching like I suppose like entry level reseller like myself, like new. We've only been doing this for a couple of years. We're only making a certain amount of turnover. And then you could easily jump to people that are doing so much more. I mean, there are people that make what I make in a month in like a week or a day, you know, doing the same exact thing. So you've got that ability to be able to grow at a comfortable pace. So you look at someone that's doing better than you, and you can watch them and learn from them. And say you find that you're on that level soon, then you can start. You'll naturally do it anyway. You'll find people that are doing better and better and better, and that's something you'd never had access to before.
Yeah, and as long as you can use those people that you might find who are just blowing you out of the water, and use it as positive inspiration, and not make you go, oh, what?
Yeah, well, that's a very important point, actually. That's a very important point. Yeah,
the other way, you know, we've all been on a down day, and you put on someone's video and they're saying, I've had the best week ever, and look at this find, and I love my job, and you have down days, right? And sometimes you click on the wrong video and you go, that's just made me feel worse. so just temper that with, you know, having to flick that switch in your head and say, okay, what can I take from this video that's positive? And yeah,
definitely.
I see Carla in the chat. Carla is a great A great channel to go over, Carla Jenkins, who's in
Yeah.
there. Click on her little icon if you haven't already and go and sub. She's someone that can, no matter what she's talking about, she can lift your mood because she's insane. She's bonkers. Hopefully she won't mind me saying that either. And I think that's great. You don't necessarily go to a channel thinking, I'm going to get some money making win piece of information here. You just want to be lifted, or you just want to watch something that's inspiring and fun while you have your lunch. You know, that's what it is for me.
But also, I love what I like also there, you know, is again that idea of the kind of being able to find something that fits you so precisely. So with Carla, what I love about Carla's channel is she is working in these constraints that she's set for herself. So for example, she's got like the space issue, you know, so it's not just she's only looking to work within a certain frame, you know, which works for her and is perfect for her. Like there's no point going to Carla and saying, Carla, why aren't you listing 1,000 items? She will just tell you straight up, as she has done in many chats, I haven't got the space, you know. And she works in that. And imagine if you're out there and you're thinking about getting into reselling, or you've got these doubts that, oh, I'd love to do this, I'd love to grow a business, or I'd love to make decent money, but I haven't got the space. And then suddenly you come across Carla and her channel, and you see her motivation, and you see how she works, and you're like, suddenly your mind's blown. And then, for example, you come across Margaret, and you're like, wow, this person is making money without even needing to go out to a car boot, without even needing to buy stock. I mean, think how massive that is. And you can learn that from her. She's started, and she's, you know, like you said, she's really found like her calling in that respect.
What, in Amazon merch? Yeah, exactly. I think it's true, and it is a good point. I mean, we don't want to harp on about Carla all evening, but she is a great example of somebody who, as you said, she made it work with what is going on for her right now. And that can be so inspiring. Totally true. You know, someone in a bed sit thinking, how can I make some extra money on the side?
Yeah.
Going to inspire and say, with limited space, you can do so much. And actually, the chat I just did, I pre-recorded with Margaret. She was talking, the video was all about jewelry.
Yeah.
She was saying that she knows resellers who all of their stock is in one little cabinet because it's jewelry. And you can have like a few £1,000s worth of high quality stuff in one little box, you know, the size of 3 board games in my case. And it just makes you think that, and as I said, that's that word again, it's inspiring, and it makes you think, okay, this is what is possible. And that's what YouTube does. It invites you into people's garages and bedrooms and just shows you what is capable.
Yeah.
People are capable of doing with their situation.
We just saw a message from Karen. Karen Fisher says it's Monty's first birthday today. So happy birthday to Monty, her dog.
Yeah, Karen has her own Monty. Not named after my Monty, apparently, but isn't that weird?
Yeah. So epic. So yes, definitely happy birthday. It looks like Carla has been modding like a champ as well. Daisy May has a question. I was around 50, it was around 15. Okay. It was around 15 years ago, but do you really think there was that many resellers back then? There weren't so many to share the journey with because there weren't many of us there, in my opinion. See, I would say yes, there probably were in percentage terms, like in percentage terms. I think, like, for example, a lot of this comes out when, you know, crime figures get reported. You know, people say crime's gone up, or is it just being reported more? So I'd say there probably weren't. I think there probably were a lot of people reselling back 15 years ago. It's just they weren't saying anything, or they had no outlet, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was very different back then because reselling was much more. You'd go to a market, you'd physically, you know, take your stuff in a van. A lot of people that have moved into eBay used to just take their stuff back to the boot sales, or they'd take it to antique fairs or whatever. Yeah. And about 15 years ago, when eBay really started to ramp up, that's when the game did change and a lot went online. I think what has changed now is that there are a lot more people dabbling.
Yeah. You know, and I think eBay, we can't underestimate, like what you said there, that it changed things. It's literally created a new way of working. So yeah, there will have been I suppose there, yeah, in that respect, yeah, there would have been a big or an increase at least in people selling online, because it wasn't a thing before. It wasn't real. It wasn't a market. It's suddenly now a market. You can, this job that I'm doing right now, 15 years ago, it just didn't exist. Even if I wanted to do it, it just wasn't there, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's an option, and it's a viable option for so many people. More so as a part-time thing. We've talked about this many times. Taking the leap to full-time is something to be thought about, and it's not a simple transition. But as a part-time way of earning extra money, it's just, it's win-win, because especially with, you talked about your poor phone that's dead, especially with a phone, you're there, you're good to go. Start selling your crap.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's great. Mir Cameron Ali, 15 years ago, there was only one reseller, and that was Nick. Not the case. It felt like it because we didn't have this very community. I didn't have this outlet to talk about this weird thing that I do. But yeah, no, there was plenty of people. I knew, because I'd go to the boot sales and see the same traders then that I'd see now.
Exactly. Tactical Bite says, Nixie, justify it however you like, but the Super Bowl market is destroyed now, and you're both to blame. Okay, maybe that was fake rage. Yeah, well, the Super Bowl market is probably seasonal. I mean, I bet you'd sell more Super Bowls now than you would have done in summer, because people are actually thinking soup. I certainly don't feel like eating soup. Or do you eat soup, or do you drink?
Well, you eat it off a spoon, kind of.
Yeah, okay. All right, we'll go with eat. I
can see. Dog, hey.
Yeah, he's on the other side. Beck's over there, so he's okay.
I forgot his name.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Funnily enough, I did sell some not long ago for £20 for 5. Was it?
Oh, there you go.
And I got them for 10p each at a jumble sale.
Oh, Carla actually says it was Ben Fitzpatrick that ruined it. Reseller Mum says, I love Instagram and Insta stories, but for some reason the thought of sharing a YouTube video makes me so nervous. Love watching / listening to others. Yeah, Reseller Mum is very active on Instagram. And Beck's a huge follower. I would be if I was on Instagram more.
I think that's great. And I think if you can find your comfort zone on whatever platform it is, and you enjoy sharing, more power to you. Do it.
Yeah.
And YouTube is not going to be for everyone. I mean, I still sometimes get nervous doing it, and I've made over 600 videos.
Yeah,
that's crazy. But it's not going to be for everyone. But yeah, I still recommend giving it a go, because it's certainly changed our lives. Right, I think I'm actually at the bottom of the chat.
Oh wow, cool.
Apparently my hair looks fab. Yeah, I had my hair all cut short. But I left my little Tintin quiff again.
Oh, the Tintin quiff. Got to keep that. Right. Carla says, God, my head is swelling now. Okay.
All right, we'll stop. We'll stop bigging up Carla. Yeah, I wouldn't watch this load of rubbish.
Zahir, there are apps you can download on your computer to let you use Instagram, says Jay Resells. See, I didn't know that. Cool. I could do that then. Right. Oh, people are offering a blitz. Simon says here, I have a Sony Xperia Z3 you can buy if you're interested. Thanks for the offer, but I'm okay. I'm going to be looking out. I don't know what I'm going to do now, to be honest. Not having a phone is a strange one, I tell you, because part of me is really enjoyed not having it. I mean, part of me is livid. Like, I'm so angry right now about this. I've asked Rebecca a couple of times if I can smash the phone. I just want to throw it really hard against the floor and just break it, because it's just frustrating. It shouldn't happen. It's not a hardware fault. It's some kind of it must, or it might be. I don't know. God knows. But it's just annoying that it's broken.
It does. No matter how anti-conspiracy theory you might be, the fact that has seemingly had a software
just outside warranty. Just outside warranty.
Yeah, so you've essentially just got to buy a new phone.
Yeah, I've got to buy a new phone. Yeah.
And how hard or easy would it be for these super boffin engineers to write into the code or send your phone a little thing that just
Well, that's what's happened. That's exactly what's happened. It's a known kind of issue, but you still can't really get anyone to help you with it because it's happening. There's nothing wrong with the physical hardware. It's I think it had an update which didn't go through properly, or it's been known to, and it does this thing called boot loop, which if you type in Google Nexus, unfortunately you'll see that lots of people have had this issue called boot loop, where it just keeps on going to the initial splash screen and just dies. It's a pain. But yeah, it's
so is it completely worthless? So you can you sell it as a spares?
I think I could sell it for some money, but I think I'd be looking at like 30 quid or something, which is really bad.
Would you get more satisfaction out of smashing it than you
would? I personally would. I would love to just smash the hell out of it.
I'll tell you what, if you do, talking about YouTube, make a video of you smashing it up, Nexus whatever smashed. That'll get views.
I just want to smash it because it's just annoying. Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, considering how much you rely on it as well, like especially with, I've been enjoying not having the phone as well at the same time. You know, like part of me loves the idea of being the guy with no phone, looking down at all you people with phones, going, phones. I don't need a phone, but you really can't do without it, can you? It's just.
Well, I resisted having a mobile phone for so long. I hated them with a passion. And then after I got my first iPhone, that was it. And it's kind of welded to my hand these days. It's an interesting discussion about reselling and phones. I mean, and how much you rely on it. I mean, have you noticed, to do with work, that you're missing it? Or
well, that I think that was something that I was actually considering that we could have a chat about, actually, that the reliance, or maybe even over reliance, because obviously this week, some of you guys may have seen, I picked up a tour jacket, a very innocuous looking jacket, which I got for 20 quid in a car boot. A car boot had been running for a while. It, by all rights, should have been snapped up before, but for whatever reason it wasn't. And I paid £20 for it, and it sold for 300 quid. Now, had I been reliant on my phone, I could have gone onto the phone and I would not have seen any sold listings for it. Then what would I have done? Oh, she's asking 20 quid. It doesn't look like it's ever sold. I don't know what it's worth. I might only be worth 50 quid, or I don't know. It's not worth it. It's £20. It's too much. Imagine if you just didn't know that tour jackets, even with all the YouTube videos, even with all the information out there, and there are plenty of YouTubers, especially over in America, where this kind of stuff is very white hot. They do tend to talk about tour shirts and like t-shirts and jackets and like that kind of merchandise a lot. But imagine you hadn't seen one of those videos, and you'd gone to the stall and you did your research on your phone with your 4G signal. What would you have done? I mean, you've got no completed listings, you've got nothing. You just have to go on your gut, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it can become a crutch because that information is there, and I found myself looking up things that I know I should just buy, but
don't need to look up, but you look them up.
Yeah, and then that's like an extra couple of minutes, which at a boot sale can be the difference. 20 seconds can be the difference between finding, I don't know, a box Super Nintendo shoved under a stall. If you're not the first person there, you've missed it. So all those 20 or 30 seconds or a minute looking things up can add up. And I think I've been guilty of just looking it up because I can. I think I'm not 100% sure what it's worth. Do I want to spend a £5 on it? Or just buy the damn thing, Nick, and move on.
Yeah.
But yeah, because for years I never had that. I mean, I don't know when I started looking stuff up at boot sales, but it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. I think it's one area in which technology treads a fine line between being being of help or being a crutch. And the reason why I say that is one area where it's really affected me personally. It has been roads. Since SatNav, I am so reliant on SatNav that it just takes me that much longer. Like, I'm sure if I didn't if I wasn't so addicted to using Google Maps, or before that I used to have the TomTom and whatever. I've had sat navs forever. Because of my jobs previously, I used to use them all the time because I was driving to different towns, different areas. But it's meant that, for example, where we're living now, we've moved. I still really don't know my way around that well. And it's because, like, you know, I'm sure without it, I would know the roads around here so much better than I do. Like, I'm obviously know my way around somewhat, but I think it's really stunted my knowledge of the local roads, because I'm so used to just being able to rely on the sat nav. And I think in a way, it's not going to be much different if you rely a lot on researching on your phone. If you rely on researching on your phone, it's just going to, you're going to get the information. You're going to not make as many mistakes. You're not going to potentially lose money because you can check. But on the other side, your knowledge base is going to build up much more slowly. And it also, that also kind of chimes in with how you absorb information, and why YouTube's so great, because for some reason, like you said, if you watch certain people, you know, things just stick, don't they? They just stick to your head. Whereas in other forms, you know, going through lists and lists of completed listings is not always fun.
Yeah, I think, just to echo that, I think it's when people show something and they show around it, and you get that, you know, video all around an item. For me, I'm a very visual person, and that sinks in. And I quite often remember the look of something, or the logo of something. And that's enough to spark that interest and go, I'm sure Zahir said something about something to do with this. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
But going back to what you were saying, I think you're right. And I am guilty of this, where looking too much stuff up, you start to lose that edge of going with your gut and taking a chance on things. Because we all know, let's say you take a chance on 10 things, chances are at least half of them are going to be good. And a decent profit you'll make on these will make these irrelevant. Yeah. And you start to lose that kind of risk element, because there is a risk, and there has to be a risk in looking for quality flips. And if you're going to look everything up on your phone, you're going to lose a shed load of time, and you're going to lose that kind of hustler gamble element of, that looks cool, I think it's worth money, I'm buying it.
Yeah.
And I think that has, thinking about it for the first time now, that has changed a lot in the last, say, 4 or 5 years for me. Yeah. I think I'm more reliant on the phone. Definitely when it comes to Amazon, I scan. If it's got a barcode,
it's almost a given though, isn't it? With Amazon, it's almost like you cannot. Yeah,
you kind of have to rely on the information with Amazon
because it can be so fine.
So I think that has kind of invaded into my eBay buying process as well.
That's actually a really good point, because with Amazon, you do need to check, because the information is so vital in terms of, you know, how many have sold in the last 3-month period.
Yeah,
you know, things like that, which you don't have to consider with eBay. You don't really.
Yeah, if you're sourcing for Amazon, which a lot of the time I am, you basically need to know, is it on Amazon?
Yeah,
you know, and is it restricted?
Can you even sell it? That's so
getting your phone out and scanning has become so second nature. I think my eBay buying process has just adopted a certain amount of that.
I mean, I know Caroline has mentioned a few times that, you know, she doesn't take her phone with her to the car boot, and you can only imagine how much more, you know, more quickly you can be on there. And I think it just slows you down, because you're not going to be looking as carefully, and you know, you're just not going to be on. I think you can miss a lot of things. You know, when you're on your phone, you know, you might be.
Well, and another one is that I know I should trust myself. Not that long ago, well, I guess it is now, back in the spring, we were at a boot sale, and I went through a crate with random mixed PS2, PS1, and I think some old Xbox games. I flicked through them all, pulled out what I thought would be good.
Yeah.
And then scanned them all. Lo and behold, they were all good. So it's like, I already knew that.
So why?
You know? And it's like, I should have just bought them and moved on and saved myself 5 or 10 minutes of scanning them all to check. I should just listen to myself.
It's true. Indie Chick says, I get so much more satisfaction when I pick up something off gut instinct and it's a winner than if I look it up first. There is a satisfaction element to it, definitely. It's, you know, it just means that you're learning, and you've picked it up off your own inbuilt knowledge, that kind of muscle memory. You've seen something, and you know it's, or you just taken a chance because you know that there's certain things it's fulfilled. Like there's, you don't always need to know brands as such. Sometimes you can tell things, like I made a video about this a while back actually. Maybe I should do like a revisit to it, but I made a video about like learning what quality is. Just I know that sounds really stupid and a bit kind of airy fairy, but seriously guys, if you can learn what quality is, it will help you immensely. Then learning what quality is would actually stop you from needing to use the phone in a lot of cases. I mean, obviously it wouldn't have worked in my tour jacket case, because I keep on talking about the tour jacket because the jacket itself is not great material. I think it was like a polyester cotton blend. So if you saw that and you were into your clothing, you'd be like, well, polyester cotton blend, not a great deal. But it was, the only knowledge I used with that was the fact that it said made in England, so I knew it was going to be vintage because they don't make things in England nowadays. So
I think it does make more sense than initially it sounds to learn what quality is, because you hear, if you watch like the Antiques Roadshow, they'll say exactly that. Oh, that feels quality, or this is well made. So knowing what constitutes well made applies to the sort of stuff you look for, like electronics, doesn't it?
Yeah. Very much so.
I remember you saying about some things to look at with RC cars that will make you, that mean they're a higher end, a better made product. The type of fixings and the type of little keys that give you enough information to know that your 20-30 quid is going to be well spent, or it's going to be safe. And Karen No Craft said, talking about whether you should look something up or really think about it, depends a lot on what you're spending. And she's right. If we're gambling anything between £1 and £5, we're going to probably go with it. Once you get into 10, 20, 30 pounds, there's an argument that you should look it up.
Very true.
Think about it, or think it's worth that 5 minutes of wandering off and having a quick peek. So yeah, it's interesting.
Right.
But I think, did you actually make a video about what is quality and how to identify? I think that would be a great video to revisit.
I think I made like a little video just talking about like, what is quality, looking out for certain things, but I've not done it with specifics. I think it would be quite cool to do it with some specifics actually. Like, what's the difference between
that we keep in our mind, like even as simple as, I remember once you were saying, I think it was made in Japan is good.
Yeah, made in Japan, the weight of something.
Made in Germany is good.
Yeah, exactly. Things like that. Wow, chat is really pumping along nicely. Megapixel says, another silly invention I use, the GPS watch. Oh, how my 7-year-old dad laughs when I use it. He ran over 30 marathons in his life with little more than a stopwatch and a notebook to keep records. That's so cool.
Oh wow.
I think it's that kind of thing. Like, you think about it, like Nick, with your experience, what to look for now. But it's just, like you said, it's just,
I think it's all about habit forming, and it's certainly Amazon FBA introduced habits that sometimes haven't been helpful. That's for sure. But then again, the amount of times I do scan an item that I'm thinking, this looks like a load of old crap, and you go, ooh, so it pays off as well. So there's a thin line, isn't there, between spending too much time on your phone or not at all.
Yeah, Reseller Mum says, I tried to say the same yesterday. Learning about quality and materials is so important. Yeah, I can imagine, especially in clothes, which is such a hyper, competitive niche, to to recognize the cut of something, or to recognize what good stitching is as opposed to bad stitching. And it can be little things like, how straight is it, like another tip that I'm sure Caroline has mentioned, Mrs. M, she said that sometimes even how the label is stitched can be an indicator, not a guarantee. These things are never guarantees as well, guys. It's like there are, for example, I know there's plenty of really heavy amps out there that aren't worth anything as well. So you do, you know, there are always exceptions to the rule, right? But I remember Caroline saying that even sometimes the way that a tag is stitched on a piece of clothing can be an indicator. Sometimes higher end brands will stitch all the way around the tag, whereas you'll get like the loop hanging tags on cheaper.
I think to a certain extent, you can only really learn that by handling it and buying it, and just through experience. Andrea amazes me. She'll kind of flick through around and go, "Oh, vintage." Well, how the hell do you know it's vintage? You haven't even looked at it yet. She says, "Oh no, the pattern." What do you mean the pattern?
The pattern.
And then she looks and it's, "Oh yeah, Laura Ashley vintage." There we go. I'm having that.
Yeah,
it's like she's done it for so long.
It's a data bank, and she can just feel it.
It's interesting, and I think Karen said just now in the chat, or probably a while back now, I think the longer you do reselling, the more you learn. I sell mainly clothing, and jumble sales are good for learning brands, etc. at 25p. So there you go. When it's that low risk, you can really experiment. That's another thing Andrea does. She'll fill up, you know, sacks of stuff at a jumble sale. It doesn't matter if a certain percentage is just rubbish and you're going to donate to charity, because there'll be some gems in there, and what you will learn will feed, you know, pay you back in the future. And at 25p, or some of the jumbles we go to even less, you know, fill a bag for a £5. It's like, holy crap. So yeah, it's great. It's a great way to learn, and I do the same thing.
Exactly.
How are we doing on time?
Okay, it's actually it's just gone past 7 actually.
Indeed.
Yeah, we've got over 130 people watching, which is absolutely fantastic. So really thank you for everyone that's joined us in the chat. Chat's been quite busy today. Sorry for everyone that we haven't been able to get around to the comments. It's just when we get into the discussion, it's, you know, it can take you away somewhat. So it's a balancing act, which we're still trying to perfect. 98 episodes in.
That's not going to happen, but we do try, and you know, without, this doesn't need to be said, but we really appreciate you popping in. I don't know how many viewers you've currently got. It's not shown on
about 128. It says now 128.
Fantastic.
Just
so stroke that like button down below. As I mentioned earlier,
smash it.
Quick plug on Thursday. Won't be live because we pre-recorded it. We had to, but there'll be a video coming out with Tex where she was gracious enough to share a lot of her knowledge about jewelry. So check that one out. And then you guys will be back Thursday. No, Friday.
Yeah, we'll be back on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, another week of content. Let's see if we can put out some more videos in the week as well. We'll see. I always say we'll see, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So thank you for watching. Like Nick said, smash the like button. Leave a comment in the comment section if you enjoyed the topic, your thoughts on the topic, and you know, if there are any topics in the future that you'd like us to discuss in upcoming TAT chats as well, that would be good. We still need to figure out what we're going to do for episode 100.
Yes, that's rapidly approaching.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna have to.
What one was this again?
This is 98.
So it's going to be on your channel.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll have to have a think.
Have to sort something out. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.
Bye.